What up? What up? What up? Hope everybody is doing all right. I'm hoping this is going to work. This is something that is not what I was trying to do. All right. Well, anyhow, we are here, and it is the Menswear Mastermind. Sorry, it's a little dark in here. You know, trying something different, so I didn't do my lights like I normally do. But we are here. I'm waiting to see if we're going to have one of our other Menswear Mastermind crew members. If not, then I'll be on here until 8:20. You know what I mean? And you guys can ask your questions. I will answer any questions that I can, and we'll go from there. All right. Let everybody let me know where you're checking in from, what city, how the weather is, if it's cold, if it's hot. Um, you know, and we'll go from there. I am dealing with a warm Atlanta right now. It has been, I think, in the 80s, and it's probably going to drop because we're in bipolar Atlanta weather. So, this is a great time for me to start thinking about and getting my summer looks together because for here, once it starts to warm up, we are able to kind of keep things keep things light. Huh. Keep things light, keep things airy, keep things comfortable, all that good stuff. So, how's the weather in St. Louis? It's mind game. I'm curious. Is it warm? Are you guys starting to warm up? You guys still staying cool? And then, like I said, just make sure that you're asking any of your style questions. Summer is always a weird, interesting time for individuals when they think about style because guys are worried about looking hot or being hot, but they still want to look cool. And so layering becomes a very interesting conversation because guys immediately think when I say layering, that they're layering clothes instead of layering interest, layering colors, layering patterns, all those other types of things, or layering a story that they're telling with their personal look. So 70s is good. I wish it was 70s here. I'm a mid tier guy. I don't ever want to be too hot. I don't ever want to be too cold. I like a nice 50-degree morning, 65, 70-degree day. My wife is always like, "Well, you should have lived in LA." I was like, maybe, you know, but they don't like to dress up like that. So, uh, yeah. So ask your questions if you have any style questions. Again, that's what we do with the shoot around on the Menswear Mastermind Wednesday, and then at 8:25 we hop off of here and we jump into the actual conversation around menswear. If you would like to join, you can always join us. It's $47 a month, and that will get you access afterwards. We have a lot of great conversations around classic menswear, custom menswear, as well as casual menswear. So you have three different perspectives, three different expertise that are coming through. We are all YouTubers, so you can check out our YouTube channels, and we are always looking to elevate and engage. It's a mind game. You said speak on that layering. What would you like to know about layering? This is your time to ask questions. And again, guys, feel free to ask your questions, and I will answer those. Edward, thank you, bro. I will keep up the good job. Thank you. I appreciate it. So, this is my game. I'm curious to know what your question is around layering. A lot of guys, and I think I have an idea of where you're going. So I'll start it out and then just provide some clarification for me. Chino, what's going on? What's going on, brother? Um, so when we talk about layering, in the summer, thank you. It's my game says, what would layering look like during the summer? So a lot of times when we think about summer, everybody is always hot. Everybody's always worried about being hot. Now we got questions coming. Thank you. This always happens around like the 10-minute mark. I don't understand why you guys do this. Thank you for asking your questions. I got three in the chamber, and so we will put those up in a second. Um, but when we think about layering in the summertime, a lot of guys are worried about being hot. And I learned this concept probably about 10 years ago, roughly 10 to 12 years ago, when I went to Dubai. A lot of times we think because it's hot, we should be showing skin. Of course, we love when the ladies are showing skin. I love when my wife, is in the summertime. She's not an overly expressive young lady, but she still will be more comfortable with her skin exposed because she does not want to get hot. The interesting thing is when we went to Abu Dhabi and we went to Dubai, most of the guys are always covered with long guard. Their skin is completely covered. And me working in the textile field and the clothing field, I had an idea, but I was looking for clarification. And they were like, well, yeah, when you're in the desert, we need to keep our skin covered because otherwise we can get sunburned. There's all types of other issues that we can have. And the type of fabric that we wear allows us to stay cool. So as I started to take that into the sartorial world, one of the things that a lot of guys are not thinking through is the way that they layer a look. So you can do that three ways. You can layer it literally through your cloth, you can layer it through your color, and then you can also layer it through your through the story that you're kind of telling. Like you can layer a transitional look. So the first piece that we'll talk about is layering the cloth. So a lot of guys miss the fact that you can have open weave cloth. So open weave cloth will have a very plain weave. It's a warp that goes up and down, and a weft that goes side to side, and that's just the whole look. And the more that you do that, the more ventilation comes through. Now the downside of that is the more that it is left open, the more likely it is to drape instead of have some structure. Now, depending on the type of fabrics that you're using, the type of weight that you're using, all those things will be affected. So I don't want you to think about that yet. But when you do that, you'll have ventilation, so it'll breathe. Then, if you pair that with a plain weave shirt, well, now you got extra ventilation, right? Then you pair that with the way that the jacket is constructed. Well, now you have something that you can layer, or you layer it with an accessory that allows for that ventilation to continue to go. Now you have something that is going to breathe well. So, for example, if you have a mesh blazer, or every guy here often talks about hop sack, right? So, hop sack is something that people are aware of, but a mesh blazer is just like a mesh jersey, except it is woven different. So, you can have that on. You could then have on a one of my favorite shirts for the summer, the Giro Inglese type of shirt. It's for live men, not for freshmen, because it's not a cheap shirt and it's also not readily accessible. Although my man Vlad has access to proper cloth. If you're following Vladimir Riche, make sure you go to his page. I think his link for proper cloth is on there, and they do have Giro, Giro Inglese, Inglese, I believe, shirts. It's a very porous, open weave shirt, so it almost looks see through until you put it on. You put those two pieces together, and let's say you throw on a bow tie if you need a neckwear or a nice neckerchief. Now you've layered a look that still will allow you to breathe. And if you really, really are a live man and you understand different types of wools, let's say you throw on an Australian lightweight wool, summer weight wool, you can still throw on a three piece and look cool, feel effortlessly cool, especially if you did a higher color, let's say like a stone pearl or dove gray, that is going to be reflective on the sun instead of attracting to the sun, and you're still in there. So this is how you layer the fabrics. You can layer colors by getting colors that are going to blend well together. So let's say you do a window pane jacket, you do a pin or hairline striped shirt, and then you have a pocket square that is polka dot. Well, if you do the window pane and it is, let's say, a high navy blue, so almost a cobalt blue, and let's say just for fun, we did a lavender window pane in that. You then pair that with a green, like a mint green hairline striped shirt, and then your polka dot bow tie is that lavender or mauve polka dot. So white and mauve polka dots. Well, now you've layered colors that you can leverage in that space, right? And then lastly, if you want to layer a story, sometimes it's about you layering the transition that you have to make throughout the day. So when I worked in New York, a lot of times we used to have something called Summer Fridays. That's where we got out of work at 12 and we had the rest of the day to do whatever. And so that usually meant happy hour. So for me, I was going to layer a look. One, because I had to be in a subway, right? That was going to be hot. People don't know this a lot about New York, but New York gets hot. And so I would know that I may be waiting for a train for anywhere between 10 to 15 minutes. I can't be sweating and then trying to go into a happy hour spot where I was trying to go meet ladies, whatever, whatever. So I had to layer my look in such a way that allowed me to look and feel cool while being professional. So a lot of times what I would do is layer a linen vest, right? A waistcoat, which is not always recommended unless you, again, are a live men, not necessarily for freshmen, because remember, a vest is going to be weighted against your body. But I would do that with a very light poplin shirt, sleeves rolled up. I would then throw that on with a pair of linen trousers. So everything was breathing and ventilating, but it was going to be professional in that story and in that scene that I needed to be, but also was still going to be social in a casual space. So I could either do that, or I would often um, not throw on my jacket at work, or throw on my jacket at work and then leave my jacket at the job and then head to the space with my sleeves rolled up, shirt open, and then that's how I would move. So those are how you can layer looks in the summer. And it's not something that a lot of people think about. So great question. Over here, for Mackie Samuel said, grooming fitness and style become important for the successful man winning in life. Thank you for your insights. Much love. Another question that we have from China Man Speaks, my man Chino said, "What's your best fragrance in the summer?" So I am biased. Chino knows I'm biased. That I love a great company here in Atlanta called Savoir Faire by my man Chris Classic. He has a new. He has two fragrances that I'm gonna love wearing in the summer. One is called Figasm, so it's fig, but it's the thing that I love about Classic's looks are looks. His fragrances are that they are always very nuanced, very layered, and they have great dry down processes. So Figasm is fig base. I do not know all of the details, but go to SAVIORFAIRE.com. So mysavoraffair.com, or you can check him out here on Instagram on your social, and he'll pop up. But he has a great one there, and then he has another fragrance called Indicativa, Indic, Indicativa, that has a cannabis undertone. I'm not really a big cannabis smoker, but it is phenomenal. So those will be mine. If there were anything else, I am a big fan of Barrito. They have a fig fragrance that they're discontinuing, unfortunately, which I really enjoyed. I love the fresh smell. So there's another company. Chino is the man. If you're following, if you're on Instagram, go to Chinaman Speaks, Chinaman underscore Speaks. He's the fragrance guy. I don't really know fragrance like that. I just know what I like. But I love the fresh smells. I love citruses. So definitely figs, oranges, zest. Any of those I really enjoy. Um, I hope that answered the question. So Native Warrior says, as accessories, how many bracelets can a man wear? This is a nuanced question. As 18, we still got time for some questions. I have one more question that I'm gonna ask. But if you have any more questions, by all means, ask. Um, this is kind of a nuanced question. So typically, I would tell you as many as you can handle, right? As many as uh, you can subjectively handle in social spaces and that are appropriate. So I wear one bracelet that has very sentimental sentimental relevance to me on. The homeboy got this for me for my birthday some time ago, and it actually I always wear it backwards. It really should be worn, like this, but I always wear mine backwards for whatever reason. Um, and it just holds sentimental value. And if anybody else got me something that has sentimental value, then I would probably wear that. But in my youth, I was a guy who had like six bracelets on. To me, it was just overkill as I got older. But I do have an older gentleman who I really admire, kind of mentors. He wears like five or six bracelets with no issue, no problem. So so I hold on one second. Um, so I have friends who wear a lot, and then I have friends who are very very minimalist, and that is primarily just due to their style. And so I would say if you're in a space that is conservative, or you're a conservative guy, then two bracelets max. If you're a guy who's a little bit more eccentric and over the top, and you enjoy those things, or you travel a lot, maybe you have some sentimental values. You may have four or five, different bracelets on. The other thing to consider is how big are the bracelets. If they are some rope or ribbon bracelets that you have on, and they're very nondescript and small, you may have four of those on, and it may look like two bracelets. So it's important to just pay attention and pay intention to what it is that you want to convey in those spaces. So I hope that answers your question. For my man One and Day, what is a great brand for high waisted trousers? Um, hmm. I know Penny Parma has some high waisted trousers. I know that Spear McKay, I believe, has some high waisted Gurkha trousers. I have my trousers custom made, so I don't know the best, honestly. There, I'm actually working with a factory right now to have a non waistband, like what we call Hollywood waistband now. So I don't know. I don't know in full, but I do know that Penny Parma has had some good recommendations, as well as Spear McKay for their high waisted. There was another company that I can't back. So the Spear McKay is the one I would trust the most within that space. Will P91 says, how do you feel about pink suits or sport coats? I'm sure for summer weddings or garden parties, a pastel type of pink, by the way. So like mauve. Um, I'm sure I've changed a bit when it comes to that perspective uh, of what you're wearing. Now, if you're going to a garden party, that's one thing. If you're going to a wedding, that's definitely a no. It's a no no. And that's because you should always think about ceremony, celebration, or and and reverence, right? When you're thinking about what it is that you're wearing. So if I'm going to a celebration or a ceremony, or I'm trying to honor somebody, I'm not going to be loud. And that's because it's not about me. And a lot of guys make this mistake that they will show up extra to a event that is not about them. Now, if this is a cocktail attire type of wedding, and you know these people well, they're like your homies, and you know that they're eccentrics, they're loud as far as color, they're extravagant, they enjoy having all those things, that's fine. Um, then you can do that. Um, sorry guys, hold on one second. Um, then cool. If you're going to a garden party, kill them. You know what I'm saying? Do your thing. Hurt them. That's fine. What happens for a lot of guys though is if you're in a situation where you're celebrating somebody else, be mindful of that. And the interesting thing there is that you can be mindful and still be the best dressed person there, including the groom, unfortunately, in some situations. right? And that's the thing, is being able to show taste and tact is something that can make you one of the most best dressed people, because everybody else is like, I don't really get to dress up. I don't really get to turn up, from a sartorial standpoint frequently. So I'm going to go all out. But if you know what you're doing, and if you that dude that you know that you throw it on daily or you throw it on weekly, it's not a major issue for you to not stand out. But you know how to put together that look. You know how to layer your colors. You know how to layer your textures. And so you've put together this beautiful suit ensemble that pairs well and is tastefully executed, and everybody's walking up to you and saying, "Man, you just look really, really nice, man. Man, that's just a great look." Right. So um those are just some things for you to try on to see how it fits you. You guys had some great questions tonight. I got time for one more question. One more question. And if not, then we will hop off. And remember, like I said, if you want to engage with some very stylish guys, some guys who are enhancing and elevating their own personal style with three different perspectives, who are very knowledgeable within their own space, with myself, Vladimir Richey, and Style Jumper, aka Isan Ali, then please, by all means, feel free to join us at the Menswear Mastermind. And you can go to patreon.com/menswear mastermind, and you can sign up. It's $47 a month, but you're essentially getting sometimes three different image consults from the three of us. If we have low numbers, we've done one-on-one style consults, personality assessments. We do some conversations around dating. We talk about masculinity, manhood, marriage, as all three of us are. Parenthood. I'm not a parent yet. I'm an uncle. And so we talk about all those things. We talk about mental health and personal development. So it is a totalitarian conversation, but it is focused and honed in on menswear. So if you're looking to master your mind as well as master your style, by all means, feel free to join us. And if you sign up within the next 5 to 6 minutes, we may even be able to get you on this evening. Outside of that, I ain't seen any more questions. No more questions. Well, I appreciate you guys. I hope that you guys are having a great Wednesday. Make sure that you check me out on YouTube. Right now, I am the business casual stylist. That may be changing to the signature stylist, only because I want to be able to extrapolate and extract some deeper dives into style as our persona. But for the next year, we will be talking about business casual and all the different elements that come along with that. So make sure that you stay tuned to that. Outside of that, be great today. Just remember you already are. And don't forget, oh man, appreciate you, Native Warrior. I always attempt to give you some good game. Don't forget to be great today. But then again, you already are. So now all you have to do is show up and show out in style. And we will see you next week on the Menswear Mastermind. Peace.